The NFL draft is just around the corner, so why don't we take a look at some of the best prospects of this year's class in our official big board. So right away and starting at number 30, we have wide receiver from Arkansas, Treylon Burks, who is a well-rounded athlete whose size is no joke. He has very good hands and has showed some special team traits. His route running needs some work though, but the talent is right there. Coming up next, we have Daxton Hill. The Michigan standout is one of the most versatile players of this class, dominating on both safety and cornerback positions. He has good coverage and tackling skills, but he is amazing on downfield plays. At number 28, we have cornerback Roger McCreary. He's good at both man and zone coverage, having an amazing body control. He's very good at attacking the ball, but his lack of speed could be somewhat concerning. Up next, Devonta Wyatt from Georgia. He has an amazing first step and he's incredibly fast for his size. His movement skills ain't no joke, but his ability to beat double teams could use some work. Coming at number 26 is Jameson Williams. He showed to be the best deep threat of this year's class, however his ACL tear brings his stock downwards. He's incredibly explosive and could end up being a huge drop steal though. At 25, we have yet another cornerback in Andrew Booth Jr. He has some very good positioning as well as ball hawk abilities. When it comes to the run game, he could make his case as the best cornerback of the class. Then we have Chris Olave from Ohio State. He's arguably the best route runner to clear to the draft and he's shown great ball security. However, he isn't very big nor is he very strong, so press coverage could be a concern. At number 23, we have linebacker Nakobe Dean. He doesn't have the ideal size for a linebacker, but his explosiveness does make up for it. His pass coverage skills plus speed can help him become a solid NFL starter. At number 22 comes in David Ojabo. He's quick and explosive while having a huge upside. Had he not gotten injured, he probably would have been higher, but unfortunately things like that happen. He could be a huge steal if he does fall off. Zion Johnson makes this list at number 21. He's a very good run blocker and overall a great athlete. He doesn't have as big of an upside, but he should be a safe pick regardless of where he's taken. Cracking up the top 20, we have Trevor Penning. His run blocking is pretty much perfect. He has good size, good athleticism, and has a tendency of dominating opposing players. Should be a great addition to any below average offensive line. Coming up at number 19, Kenny Pickett. Regardless of his hand size, Kenny Pickett has shown to be arguably the most NFL-ready quarterback of this year's class. He doesn't have a huge upside, but he could thrive on the right system. At number 18, Trent McDuffie. Very good against the run and has a very good and aggressive tackling technique. He's good at playing the ball and following even the fastest wide receiver. He isn't very strong though, and his size might be a small cause for concern. Up next comes Devin Lloyd. He has some good length and speed while also having a solid football IQ. His awareness is incredibly good, but his tackling and blocking do need some improvement. At number 16, Jermaine Johnson. He has an incredibly high football IQ. That and his wide variety of pass rush moves make him a threat to any offensive line. He's also the type of player to always play through the whistle, which is never overappreciated. Drake London cracks the top 15. He has a perfect size and length for a wide receiver and his route running is overall pretty good. But despite having great catching abilities, he does lack some blocking skills. The highest position quarterback of this draft, Malik Willis, comes up at number 14. He's a very good and versatile athlete. His pocket movement isn't great though, but his upside is as high as it could be, making him the best quarterback prospect of this year's class. And now the best positioned wideout, Garrett Wilson, makes the top 13. He has some very good hands and he's usually able to get some nice yards after the catch. His size is definitely an advantage, but he does have some struggles against press coverage. At number 12, we have Iowa center Tyler Linderbaum. He's easily the best interior lineman of this year's draft class. He knows he's never too busy and tries to make every single block he can. Despite he does need some work when it comes to the second level blocking. Just missing the top 10, we have George Karlaftis. He has an amazing first step and his agility is something to keep an eye on. In addition to that, he's shown to be solid against double teams, which is an amazing treat. Now, cracking the top 10, we have Jordan Davis from Georgia. He is huge, and I mean it when I say it. His strength is something from out of this world. He's the arguably best prospect at this position and should be able to thrive on any NFL team. On to number 9, we have Charles Cross. He has a lot of strength and he tends to be very smart. However, he hasn't stood out as a run blocker, which might be a cause for concern, despite he's a hell of an athlete and should be just fine. Up next, we have LSU star Derek Stingley Jr. He's an overall great athlete who's also shown some versatility. He went through a left foot injury which brought down his draft stock, but he's easily a top 3 cornerback of this class. At number 7, we have Georgia standout Trevor Walker. I really don't get the hype of him being the first overall pick when he shouldn't even be in the top 5. He's a very good athlete though, and his size does help him a lot. However, there are better players at his position this year. Coming up next is Evan Neal. Once expected to be the first overall pick, Neal has fallen a little bit on most draft boards. I don't think there's any concern with him, but instead other prospects have shown way more potential. Despite he's very well-rounded and could make his case as the best tackle of this year's class. Cracking up the top 5, we have Cincinnati cornerback Ahmad Gardner. He's just so good at coverage, I don't even know where to start. He didn't allow a single touchdown throughout over 1,000 snaps, and his mentality on its own makes me believe he can thrive as a top 5 cornerback in the league. Now we have offensive tackle Ikem Ekwonu at number 4. He's an absolute monster, and his size ain't something to mess around with. He has a huge upside and should have an instant impact on any team. Time for the top 3, starting with safety Kyle Hamilton. He's a generational talent and should become top 5 pretty much straight away. He can cover every single offensive player and he's shown very little cons. On to number 2, where we have Kayvon Thibodeaux from Oregon. It's very close between him and number 1, but Thibodeaux just couldn't make the cut. Regardless, he has a ginormous upside, and if he improves his work ethic, he could go on to become a top 5 pass rusher in the league. And finally, the number 1 prospect, as expected by many, Michigan superstar Aiden Hutchinson. He gives me some TJ Watt vibes, and he's shown the potential to be a top 5 defensive end in the league. He's usually the one to make a play when his team needs it the most, and he can certainly become a superstar. And well, that concludes our top 30 big board of this year's draft class. Remember that if you want to support my channel for as cheap as $1, my Patreon is in the description. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't subscribed already, now it's a great time to do it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and see you all next time.